I, Gideon Mung'aro, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before this committee in respect of the matters before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SikilizaTV, and today we're going to turn our attention to a major accountability process currently taking place in the Senate, where Kilifi Governor Gideon Mung'aro appeared before the Senate Public Accounts Committee after being summoned to explain what several audit queries raised by the Auditor-General regarding the management of public funds in Kilifi County. The session attracted significant attention because it revealed concerns about expenditure, financial reporting, temporary workers, utility spending, and compliance with Senate oversight processes. And if you're turning into our channel for the first time, please click the subscribe button so that YouTube can notify you as soon as we post our political debriefs. And to our current subscribers, thank you so much for always tuning in. Please click the like button so that YouTube can notify you, notify other viewers who have not watched our channel. And thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
I'd like to welcome the delegation from Kilifi County to the Senate, to the Public Accounts Committee of the Senate. We will start, I think, with an adoption of the agenda. Honorable members, I know we started our briefing much earlier, but adopt the agenda. Our agenda today is to put the Auditor-General on Kilifi County Executive, Receiver of Revenue, and 2024-2025, and to review the measures taken by the County Executive to implement the recommendations of the Senate. Could I get a proposer?
Honorable Chair, I propose.
Thank you, Senator Wambua.
Chair, I second the proposal.
Thank you, Senator Gataya. We will do a very quick round of introduction. Let me start with the senators present.
Good morning, Governor and your delegation. My name is Jones Maruma, Senator representing Taita Taveta, Vice Chair to this committee.
Good morning, Governor and the Kilifi delegation. My name is Zeno Kwambua, Senator Kitui, a member of this committee.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Senator Mwenda Gataya, Kilifi County, member of this committee.
And Moses Otiero Kajwang, Senator from Homa Bay County. I chair the committee.
Team from the county, maybe I will first let them introduce themselves, then
I think go on record first, and
okay.
then they can introduce
My name is
themselves.
Gideon Mung'aro, Governor Kilifi County.
Okay.
I'm accompanied by officers from the county who will introduce themselves. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Auditor-General, are you in a position to guide the conversation, having received the responses?
Thank you, Chair. The responses were received on 8th June 2026. Thank you.
And have you had an opportunity to go through? Are you in a position to guide the committee?
Yes, we're in a position to get the committee. Thank you, Chair.
Clerk of the Senate?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I can confirm that we received the documents on 8th of June as prescribed in our letter inviting the County Executive of Kilifi to appear for the meeting today. Thank you.
Fine. A few preliminary issues. When the Senate made a resolution on the report of the Auditor-General for Kilifi County, the Executive, ROR, and CRF, the Senate adopted the report of the Auditor-General as is, which meant that anything that the auditor reported as inaccurate, irregular, unauthorized, unlawful, the Senate agreed with the Auditor-General. The Senate also directed that the governor appears before this committee to provide an update on measures taken to resolve the outstanding issues. And that's the reason for the meeting today. The Senate further resolved that a fine of 500,000 shillings be imposed upon the governor of Kilifi for failure to honor the summons of the Senate. I think the summons were for 30th of March, 2026. Before we proceed, I need to confirm, Clerk, whether the 500,000 fine has been paid.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I can confirm that the County Governor of Kilifi has paid the 500,000. The 500,000 was paid on 9th of June. Thank you.
Okay, if that.
And the first issue is Governor Mung'aro failed to appear before the Senate, where one of the first matters raised by the committee chairperson was the governor's previous failure to honor the Senate summons. According to the committee, Governor Gideon Mung'aro had previously been summoned before the Senate. The summons was scheduled for March 2026, and the governor failed to appear. And as a result, the Senate imposed a fine of 500,000. And during today's meeting, the committee clerk confirmed that the 500,000 fine had been paid and payment was made on 9th June 2026. The committee therefore acknowledged that the governor had complied with the penalty imposed by the Senate. And the second issue was this: the Senate adopted the Auditor-General's report. The committee chair made another important statement where he noted that the Senate had already adopted the Auditor-General's report. This means that the Senate accepted the findings contained in the report as official concerns requiring explanation. The chairperson stated that the Senate agreed with matters flagged by the Auditor-General include inaccurate expenditure, irregular expenditure, unauthorized expenditure, and unlawful expenditure. The governor was therefore required to explain what corrective measures had been taken since the report that was issued. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, what are your thoughts? We've seen Senator Moses Kajwang chairing the Senate Public Accounts Committee, and we've clearly seen that Kilifi County Governor Mung'aro was summoned to explain the inaccurate expenditure and irregular and non-authorized and unlawful expenditures in his county. And the first thing we do note is that Governor Mung'aro was summoned on March 2026, but he failed to attend the meeting. And what are some of the reasons why you believe the governor was not able to attend this meeting? Let me know in the comment section. Many Kenyans believe that maybe Governor Mung'aro was not well prepared for that meeting, and that's why he failed to attend. And even in this current proceedings, we clearly see there was lack of well preparedness, and therefore it clearly shows that they did not have enough time to prepare, and as such the Senate committee was not satisfied with the responses that they gave, and therefore they've asked the governor to review the reports and have a well-detailed report for the next hearing in September, and because they're still yet to address any inaccurate expenditures, irregular expenditures, and all that. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, let me know, what are your thoughts?
Senator Chirake, you can go on record.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, everybody. And it's finally good to see Kilifi County. And for record, the current speaker used to appear regularly. I don't know what is happening with the current governor, but that is a story for another day. Cherargei Kiprotich is my name, the Senator of the Republic of Kenya, representing the great people of Nandi. Let's look at the governor, the speaker's county, if it matches his work on the floor.
You are welcome, Senator. So let's go to the reports of the Auditor-General. We will start with the report on the county executive, and time allowing, we will go to the receiver of revenue. The Senate intends to sit in the county of Kilifi in the month of September. So we'll be holding Senate Mashinani in Kilifi. There are a few issues in this report which we shall mark for consideration when we are in Kilifi, particularly things to do with projects, things that require physical verification. So we will not deal with 100% of the issues here. We'll pick a few issues for our consideration, and then the ones that are remaining, project verification is best done on site. So that is how we are going to proceed. Hopefully by 2 o'clock, we should be done with the key issues that must be considered here in Nairobi, and then the remainder of the issues we'll deal with when the Senate comes to Kilifi. Auditor General, what was your opinion on the county executive?
Thank you, Chair. The opinion was a qualified opinion.
That issue was that the qualified audit opinion, because the Auditor General informed the committee that Kilifi County received a qualified opinion. A qualified opinion does not mean all county finances were problematic. However, it means the Auditor General identified specific issues that prevented giving a completely clean audit opinion. This automatically places responsibility on county officials to provide additional explanations and supporting documentations.
So let's go to the basis for the qualified opinion. You have already given us a brief on some of the issues that need to be kept in view and those that need to be dealt with here. So the first one is unsupported expenditure on basic wages of temporary employees.
First of all, you asked if the officers were still there. Yes, they're still in Kenya. One of them is a member of parliament, and another one is the Senate. One is your speaker. The other one is the county attorney, then also works in the Senate. Currently, director legal currently works in the Senate. As I said, this is a matter we inherited.
And the fourth issue was unsupported expenditure on temporary employees. And one of the first audit concerns raised involved was basic wages for temporary employees. According to the Auditor-General, questions were raised regarding expenditure related to temporary workers. The concern centered around whether sufficient documentation existed to support the payments that were made. The Senate committee sought explanations on who was employed, how many employees were involved, whether proper records existed, whether payments matched approved employment records, and this is significant because staff costs consume a large portion of county budgets.
Of revenue and disbursements reflects a total disbursements and other charges of Kenya shillings 1,382,739,289. Amount of Kenya shillings 44,352,180 paid to a service provider at the rate of Kenya shillings 3,696,015 per month. However, the amount was deducted directly from the bank account and was not supported by payment vouchers or any authorization, and was not included in the expenditure on use of goods and services. In addition, the statement of financial position reflects cash and cash equivalent balance of Kenya shillings 372,648,989 as disclosed in Note 20 to the financial statements. The balance includes a deposit bank account balance of
June 2026. A payment voucher dated the 26th day of January 2026 was prepared to acknowledge the expenditure. The payment of salaries was done through a court order issued on the 22nd day of September 2016 in Malindi High Court Civil Case number 9 of 2016, Raindrops Limited versus the County Government of Kilifi, in which a monthly sum of Kenya shillings 3,969,0115 being salaries payable to over 218 employees of Raindrops Limited was drawn directly from an escrow account number 0198094684003 held at SBM Bank Kenya Limited, Malindi Branch. Malindi High Court Civil Case number 9 of 2016 and all other related matters were with consent dated the 16th day of September 2025 were marked as settled and closed before the Honorable late Justice Mugure Thande on the 6th day of October 2025. Attached in hours of the 2nd day of March 2026 at the pages 141 to 144 as appendix number 5 is a copy of the payment voucher dated 26th day of January 2026 and a copy of the court order issued on the 15th day of December 2016 Malindi High Court Civil Case number 9 of 2016 Raindrops Limited versus the County Government of Kilifi. Chair, the sum of Kenya shillings 135,482,754 refers to the difference between the opening and the closing amounts, which does not reflect the correct number of payments made during the year under review. As portrayed in the audit query, the correct amount paid from the deposit account during the financial year under review, as per the cash book, is the sum of Kenya shillings 286,811,303.85. A list of payments made out of the deposit amount account during the year under review and copies of sample vouchers are attached in hours of the 2nd day of March 2026 at pages 145 to 214 as appendix number 6. Thank you, Chair.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is the first point. This is the first issue that the Senate committee were able to start tackling. And the first thing was they realized that there was an irregular payment of 44 million paid to basic wages for temporary employees. And if you look at the response from the county executives, they stated this is about a company called Raindrops Limited. And it appears that this company was contracted to collect revenue from Kilifi County, and this part of this revenue that they're collecting is the way bridge. There was the construction of the way bridge where big trucks are passing along Kilifi. As they pass through, they have to go through checkpoints. They have to be weighed. They have to pay a certain amount of money, and so it is alleged that in this arrangement, Kilifi County was paying 30% to this company to do the revenue collection, which Senator Ojwang clearly highlighted that was excessive because usually it's around 5 to 6%. So therefore, the first key issue is how did Kilifi County agree to pay 30% of revenue collection, And the second thing is, on top of that, Kilifi County was also responsible of paying the wages of these employees on top of paying 30% of all revenue collections. And therefore, the chair of the Senate committee, Senator Moses Ojwang, clearly is pointing out that there's an irregular expenses here, and this contractual agreement is not a good contractual agreement between Kilifi County and the private sector. And therefore, they even question who's the owner of these raindrops. And we can clearly see Governor Mung'aro try to give a hint that this is a company involved from the previous administration. Because if you look at the court case, they are talking about this company has been collecting 4 million every month since 2016. And if we look at Governor Mung'aro's term, he came into office in 2022. Therefore, he's clearly blaming the previous administration, which was led by the current Senate Speaker, Amason Kingi. And therefore, even Governor Mung'aro even said the issue is being the issue is well known by the members of the current the Senate, who are his colleagues of Moses Ojwang, and therefore Governor Mung'aro was trying to clearly say that this issue of Raindrops Limited has nothing to do with him, and therefore when he took over office, he was handed over pending bills from them, and therefore it is an issue that he has tried to resolve. He went to court, and the court was also not very helpful, and therefore he clearly exposed who is responsible of this unsupported expenditure. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know what are your thoughts. Let me know in the comment section.
Based on that review, the management response was considered to be unsatisfactory because it is not consistent with the information in the financial statement. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Governor, the audit query, there are two figures, 44 million and 135 million. With regards to the 44 million paid to a service provider at the rate of 3.696 million per month, the auditor says the amount was deducted directly from the bank account, was not supported by payment vouchers or any authorization, was not included in the expenditure on the use of goods and services. How do you deal with that, first of all? Deducted directly from the bank account, but not supported by payment vouchers or any authorization. If you cannot demonstrate an authorization, then it means that this 44 million was irregularly paid. What is the basis? What's the authorization? And even if there was an authorization for a payment to be made, isn't there supposed to be a payment voucher in a proper financial system? So could we start with the authorization and payment vouchers for these amounts?
Chair, when they have more to respond, I'll give to the finance team. But this payment was done under court order in the escrow account that they were allowed to withdraw from the bank that amount to pay salaries. So it was not passing through the county. They used to deduct from the escrow account directly with us.
Who was being paid a salary?
The workers of Raindrops.
Is Raindrops a county corporation?
No, it was a service provider. And when they were stopped collecting revenue, they went to court. And then the matters went on and on. Then they were ordered to open an escrow account. And after the many battles, the court again ordered them to, they went back to court and said they can't pay the salaries to the staff they were using to collect revenue. And the court gave a court order that they will be paid that amount, 3 point something, about 4 million, to be able to withdraw every month.
For
paying salaries.
For paying salaries
to their staff.
Of a service provider.
Yeah.
So they were paying themselves directly, automatically,
yes,
without
from
going through the county revenue fund.
Yes, they were withdrawing from the account directly, as per the court order. The court ordered actually the bank to pay them every month that amount of money, and the evidence is there, Chair.
So every month they would present a payroll?
We don't know how they did it at the court. It was part of the questions we had, Chair, when we came here last time. It was one of the things which really...
Yeah, that's why we've started with it, because it's been lingering for a long time.
Yes, yes.
So
when you came here, Chair, last time...
218 employees. So the assumption is that the service provider would have 218 employees.
Yes. They are sitting at home and getting paid.
Getting paid every month.
But because it was a court order, Chair, there's nothing much we could do. During the negotiations, that's part of the things I brought up, because I asked the service provider, where are the evidence that you pay people? Where is the evidence of pay as you earn, all these things to really show that you are paying workers? They didn't have. That's why during the negotiations, we've taken money which we did not reach any staff. For me, there was no evidence that they are paying any staff. If you ask me where is it?
Okay, so because perhaps I have some background, my colleagues might not have a background, because this sounds like a scam. And when you mention the courts, we wonder how the courts could be accomplices in this scam. This is 44 million in 1 year. For how long has this 44 million been paid? For how many years now?
From 22nd September 2016, Chair. That's one thing which baffled everybody. When I came here last time, Chair, we know this matter happened.
So that's 10 years.
10 years.
So
that's why your committee ordered this matter should be resolved, because we are wasting money. And we went back, Chair, worked with the SEC.
So it's been about 440 million.
Yes, which they had already taken.
Paid to this service provider.
Yeah.
Over 10 years.
Yeah. And they were still demanding on the court settlement about 2.1 billion, which we said we can't do.
Were they still collecting? Were they still collecting?
No, they were stopped at one time. They were stopped in 2019.
So you are paying 218 employees every month, and they are not rendering any service to Kilifi County.
Yes, that is from 2019. Then they were stopped, and that's why the matter ended up in court.
So for the 440 million you paid over the 9-10 years, there's not been any return on investment.
Chair, they were working up to around 2018, 2019, when they completely stopped and they were still collecting money, salary every month. Because they went to court and said they were terminated illegally and that they have workers they need to pay, and the court gave a court order and instructed the court to pay Raindrop every month.
Okay. Yeah, you can take the questions and then respond.
Did the county challenge that decision of the court? Because paying people who are not providing services, and more so, they are employees. I mean, it's ridiculous. And again, we wish to know who is the owner of this company, because he needs to be blacklisted, honestly. It's a scam. It's unacceptable. Something has to be done.
Chair, can I add?
Senator,
Sorry.
Let's check there, then Senator.
Chair, you have to note that this is a county that once paid 51.5 million air. And that matter has been adjudicated by the court. People have been charged. I think they were convicted 17 to 75 years, and they were fined 198 million. So it looks like the trend of this county is to sell nothing but pay. So my only concern is to Governor, where is the contractual obligation or the agency agreement that might have been relied in a court of law?
And the other issue was the use of goods and services, where another major audit issue involved use of goods and services. The committee examined spending related to procurement and service delivery. Senators sought clarification regarding how funds were spent, whether procurement procedures were followed, whether value for money was achieved, whether supporting documents existed. These are common audit areas because counties spend billions annually on goods, supplies, and contracted services.
Then the second qualifying issue was under use of goods and services.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the other issue was on pending bills, where the Auditor-General clearly shows that Kilifi County has about 11 billion pending bills, and the big key issue was in their statements there was no aging analysis to show how these pending bills have been incurred. We cannot tell whether Governor Mung'aro has incurred all these 11 billion pending bills, or this 11 billion pending bills goes all the way back to the previous governor, and therefore it appears that the current committee executives of Governor Mung'aro are failing him, and therefore the first thing he needs to do is he needs to fire everyone so that he can get a proper new team. It appears that even the people who are working around Governor Mung'aro, he's not the one who hired them, and therefore he came into office, he found people there, and perhaps out of good faith or a good person at heart, he just decided to let everyone keep their job and not do any much reshuffle. But we can clearly see that that move is now costing him, because these people are not able to explain how money was spent, even including during the previous administration. And therefore, this was a key lesson for Governor Mung'aro, and he needs to take note of this. Possibly he needs to change the entire cabinet, the entire committee executives surrounding him, and therefore he needs to get a new team that can properly do a proper audit and account for every Kenya shilling that has that seems to be unaccounted for. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know, what are your thoughts?
Do we allow the governor to respond? Governor, please respond to the issue raised.
Yes, I will respond to this one, Chair, then I'll give the county attorney on the other matter, because there was appeal from the county. But on the escrow account, Chair, the order was given by the court on the withdrawal, which again the Honorable Senator Ambua was questioning, is that in the escrow account, the guys were allowed, the court served both us and the bank. And we tried many times. I've held meeting many times with the bank top directors from Nairobi coming to Kilifi to negotiate, but they said the only way was for us to go to the court of appeal to remove that order, which was not removed till when we did the consent.
No, the governor wants to run away, but will not allow him, because government exists in perpetuity.
That's how.
My only concern, while you say maybe others in Senate, I'm talking about the people who did the signing, who did the contract, the paperwork. Is it still the county attorney? The people who sat in those offices of finance, the directors, are they still there? The people who did the legwork. Leave about the top.
I think the point is made. Let's allow the governor to respond.
Chair, before he responds, just together, I have asked who is this very powerful person? Who owns this company? And again, we've never had in the history of this country that you appeal against a decision to get a stay order, and then it is rejected. Then you don't appeal to the higher court, because this is taxpayers' money. I mean, 40.
Just through the chair, we must first establish whether actually the county government of Kilifi appealed for, even sought a stay of execution. Maybe appealed for other things.
And the other issue was the 40 million query on utilities, supplies, and services, because one of the largest figures discussed during the hearing involved approximately 40 million. The Auditor-General raised concerns regarding utilities, supplies, services. The report indicated inaccuracies in expenditure reporting. The committee therefore sought explanations regarding the exact nature of the expenditure, supporting documents, accounting records, and why discrepancies appeared in the audit process. This became one of the key financial issues highlighted during the session. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this 40 million is the same issue of where they were in a legal battle with Raindrops Limited. It appears Raindrops Limited were able to go to court. The court were able to give them a court order for them to get paid directly by the bank. I don't know how that appears. The legal team of Governor Mung'aro was also not able to explain how they were able to appeal such orders and get stay orders, and therefore the Senate committee has publicly exposed Kilifi County, and it has clearly shown where the county is losing its money. And the next thing Governor Mung'aro needs to do is to go and close those loopholes. If there are current employees who are embezzling funds from the county, then Governor Mung'aro has been put to notice that there's something going on in your county, and if you don't properly review, there could be serious losses of the county. And therefore, the Senate has properly highlighted the key issues, and many Kenyans are waiting to see what response will Governor Mung'aro do.
We had omitted and unsupported expenditure. I'd like us to start with omitted and unsupported expenditure.
Other issues, omitted and supported expenditure, where the committee then moved to another critical area where omitted and unsupported expenditure. The chairperson specifically requested the Auditor-General to read the observations relating to the issues. This category typically involves situations where expenditure is reported without adequate supporting evidence, documentation is incomplete, transactions cannot be fully verified, financial records contain omissions. The Senate committee appeared particularly interested in understanding how these expenditures were authorized and recorded. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, another key issue that the Senate was able to highlight was that there's a lot of transactions, expenses, and these transactions are not matching with the documentations. It appears that the county has an accountant, but this accountant is not properly documenting every transaction, and they are not able to reflect or connect these transactions to their bank statements. And therefore, it appears that they will need a serious accounting team, and they'll need to properly have a system of approving the transaction. They've talked about payment vouchers. I'm not so sure if these payment vouchers are properly being used, because it appears that there's still unsupported expenditures going through the transactions. And therefore, many Kenyans are asking, how do these transactions get approved? We believe that the governor is the final person to approve them, to put a signature on the payments. But if these payments are being made without the governor's signatures, he needs to quickly highlight that these payments are made without my signatures, and therefore the people who are in charge, these are the people who are in charge of remitting these payments, and therefore these are the people who should answer the questions. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know, what are your thoughts? Should Governor Mung'aro be blamed for all these unsupported expenses? And what are your thoughts? What action should he take? Let me know in the comment section.
The revenue collection agreement dated 20th February 2014 as amended on the 4th day of July 2014 be and is hereby terminated on the signing of this consent, and no further contractual obligations shall subsist between the parties. 2, that upon signing of the consent, an order be and is hereby issued directing the Chief Executive Officer, SBM Bank, formerly Chase Bank, to transfer all funds held in escrow accounts numbers 019894843001 and 01980948430002 to the respondents and respondents' advocates designated accounts in the following manner: Kenya shillings 305,033,345 to Commercial International Bank, Kenya Limited, account name RBZ Advocates LLP, and I think I can jump the rest. B, the balance thereof being under approximately Kenya shillings 243,086,034 to SBM Bank.
You are on which paragraph now?
I'm still on paragraph 2. There's A and B, where the sums of money were transferred to. So that in B, The sum of 243,086,034 was transferred to Raindrops Limited. And 3, that this amount represents a fair and reasonable estimate of the claim and includes all other costs incurred in undertaking revenue collection on behalf of the appellant, excluding weighbridge, infrastructure, and covers the following. 3.1, respondent's share of 30% collection fees amounting to Kenya shillings 181 million. 3.2, cost of the suit amounting to Kenya shillings 25 million. 3.3, damages for early termination amounting to Kenya shillings 226,726,343. And 3.4, costs relating to lease agreements, tenancy obligations, office rental, salaries incurred by the respondent, and all other expenses amounting to the sum of Kenya shillings 119,089,051. Item number 4 reads as follows: that the parties jointly commission the government chief valuer to conduct a technical evaluation of infrastructure installed by the respondent at Malindi, Mavueni, Mbudzi, and Jaribuni sales collection points. A planned valuation and inspection report dated 13 July 2023 was prepared by Chief Engineer, Mechanical Engineer Richard Bitai, OGW. Number 5, that planned valuation and inspection report shall form the basis for the value and payment of the infrastructure which is in serviceable condition and valued as follows. 5.1, Malindi, PIT type weighbridge, Eagle Make 100 tons, accuracy 20 kgs, Kenya shillings 14,200,000. 5.2, Mavueni, surface mounted weighbridge, Eagle Make 100 tons, accuracy 20 kilograms, Kenya shillings 11,900,000. 5.3, Mbudzi, surface mounted weighbridge, Eagle Make 100 tons, accuracy 20 kgs, Kenya shillings 12,300,000. And 5.4, Jaribuni, surface mounted weighbridge, Eagle Make 100 tons, accuracy 20 kgs, Kenya shillings 12,300,000. 5.4, Jaribuni, surface mounted weighbridge, Eagle Make 100 tons, accuracy 20 kgs, Kenya shillings 12,200,000. Item number 6 reads as follows: that the total amount payable sum of Kenya shillings 50,600,000 for the infrastructure as per the planned valuation and inspection report dated 13 July 2023 shall be settled within 18 months from the date of handover, subject to the condition outlined under clause 7 below. Clause 7 reads as follows: that prior to the official handover, the respondent shall 7.1 service all machines and infrastructure, 7.2 replace missing parts, and 7.3 calibrate the weighbridges and adjust internal settings to ensure legal and industry standard accuracy in brackets typically within 0.1% of applied load. 7.4 hand over all machines and infrastructure within 14 days from the signing of this consent. Item number 8 reads as follows: that the appellant, upon the signing and adoption by the court of this consent, shall assume responsibility and within 30 days thereof assess, prepare, and sign leases, tenancy agreements, or addendum to existing leases and tenancy agreements with the landlords in relation to the parcels where the weighbridges are located.
I think we can leave it there because.
And the other question is the Senate may conduct site visits because the committee chair also announced that not all audit issues would be resolved inside the committee room. And according to the chairperson, some projects require physical verification. Site visits are necessary. Senate teams may travel to Kilifi County and project verification will be done on location. This means that some audit concerns may be investigated directly where projects were implemented. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the other issues also saw that Governor Mung'aro stated that some of the pending bills were from unfinished projects, and therefore like he gave an example of the county headquarters. He also gave an example of how the previous administration started some projects and they were unfinished, and therefore as the new administrations they were obligated to make the payments to finish the unfinished projects. And therefore it appears that the Senate committee will also do a site visit to investigate and to thoroughly oversight the expenses of these unfinished projects. And if Governor Mung'aro will not be prepared, he could also face another backlash on not being well prepared to explain how county funds are being spent. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know, what are your thoughts? Should Governor Mung'aro have a well-detailed report and a properly organized accounting committee so that the Senate Mashinani committee comes to Kilifi, they'll be well prepared? Let me know in the comment section. I'll appreciate it.
You know, when you look at this, first of all, this is one of the highest revenue share rates we've ever seen. 30% collection fees. it's typically 5-6%. So that's already a problem. And when you're taking 30% collection fees, you should be able to pay your salaries. Remember, the county was still paying the salaries for the service provider. So if you take what is contained here, the numbers contain the consent, and the amounts of money were paid over the 10 years, this is 1 billion shillings. This was a 1 billion shilling misadventure. Is that a proper assessment?
With your permission, Honorable Chair, that's a proper assessment. And when you retire to write your report, this revenue collection agreement of 2014, all said and done, it had a problem from day one. So that if it's a question of someone taking responsibility, then we have to go back there. I know governments operate in perpetuity, but this mistake was done from day one. From having an escrow account from day one, from the percentages given there, it was a mistake from day one. So when you people retire to do your report, I hope the responsible people can be brought to book. Thank you, Chair.
Now, the governor made some allegations. Remember, Governor, you are speaking under oath. So, yes, you are expected to be truthful. But are those names, those persons of interest, have they been questioned by the EACC? Because you say the EACC was part of this resolution.
I have to check, Chair. I guess they did. All what we knew we are trying to battle with is the demand they had put in court of 2.1 billion to settle their matters. There were various things they were demanding. The loss of business, the money they had put in lawyers and whatever. That's why we came to the conclusion of settling out, get what they can get, but the county don't want to sign for any more obligations with them. So, Chair, as we said, it seemed like this contract, maybe you need to go through, you are a lawyer, I've seen many lawyers here, maybe you need to go through that contract, Chair, and advise us if there's anything else you could do after this. But the only thing for us is, yes.
You don't even need to go to law school to know that paragraph 3.4, where you are paying 119 million for costs relating to lease agreements, including salaries, 119 million. And yet every month they've been taking 4 million for salaries. How then do we think of it? The conception was wrong. But even at termination, you can clearly see.
And why this matters to Kilifi residents? Because the Senate Public Accounts Committee serves an important oversight role. Its responsibility is to ensure public money is properly used, counties comply with financial laws, audit concerns concerns are addressed, taxpayers receive value for money. For residents of Kilifi County, these hearings provide an opportunity to understand how county funds are being managed and whether recommendations made by auditors are being implemented. And the key questions arising from the hearing, as the process continues, several questions remain. Were all expenditures properly supported? Ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, not all expenditures were properly supported. And in fact, from this hearing committee, I've also learned that there's a lot of transactions that the county conducts every single day or every single month or every single year. But the key issue to those transactions is how they document those transactions. And therefore, Kilifi County and through Governor Mung'aro, they need to find someone who can properly do accounting. And right now we do have online systems. You know, we have online systems that can track everything, unless the reason why they're not using online system is so that they cannot properly do the accounting, so that they cannot be investigated and found out that where the money is being misappropriated. Therefore, in my opinion, all expenditures were not properly supported, and this is a lesson to Governor Mung'aro to ensure that he has a team that can properly document all expenditures and explain in details of how these expenditures are being incurred by the county, you know. And the second question is, will the county provide satisfactory explanation for the 40 million query? I think the governor has already done enough explanation and he has clearly pointed out where the query is. And I think the Senate were in agreement that the next sitting, they should invite the owners of Raindrops Limited. These are the people who need to come and explain how this 40 million was withdrawn from the public checker directly. They had the power. They stated that they have a court order. They need to show how this court order gave them the power to go and withdraw money from the Kilifi County account, and they've been withdrawing all this money every month, and then and still at the end they're claiming that they're owed 2.1 billion. Therefore, the Governor Mung'aro did provide a satisfactory explanation for the 40 million query. Now the next thing is Governor Mung'aro himself can apprehend the company owners of Raindrops unless he knows who's the owner of Raindrops, and maybe it's a powerful person, as he clearly hinted that the person involved is a colleague of the chair of the Senate, and possibly naming Speaker of the Senate, Amason Kingi, and therefore if the Senate of Public Committee is not able to summon Speaker of the Senate to come and ask about the company, if it's alleged that the company belongs to him since he was the former governor, then according to Governor Mung'aro, he's already provided satisfactory explanation. Therefore, whatever this question is likely to expose the close relationship between Governor Mung'aro and Governor Amason Kingi, former Governor Amason Kingi, you know, and if they are working together, it will expose that. But if they're not working together and Governor Mung'aro is not part of it, then he needs to take action. He needs to either stop the payments or sit down with the Speaker of the Senate and tell him, look, I'm under fire because of this, and how do we resolve this, you know? And the other question is, what corrective actions have been taken since the audit report? One, we know that Governor Mung'aro now knows where the problem is. We are yet to see the corrective actions. So the next hearing in September is when we'll be able to see if corrective actions has been taken on the audit report. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know. Stay tuned. Will site inspections uncover additional concerns? Yes, it may uncover additional concerns, because if they look at how much money has been spent so far, and they do an appraisal and they realize that more money has been spent than the actual cost of completing the unfinished projects, and therefore it could disclose and expose additional concerns. Therefore, this is the other thing Governor Mung'aro needs to go and take care of, making sure all pending projects are completed, so that when they're coming to do the machinani inspections, there'll be no uncompleted projects. And if there's any uncompleted projects, they need to ensure it's within the last 2-3 years, within Governor Mung'aro's term. Otherwise, if they show projects that were not completed since Governor Kingi's term, yet if they look at the expenditure reports, they can clearly see a lot of money has been spent on this unfinished project. So how come their projects are not yet finished? Therefore, to avoid such concerns, Governor Mung'aro needs to go and tidy up, and I believe he has between now and September to do that. And finally, will the Senate be satisfied with the responses provided? I don't. From the response of Senate Chair Moses Kajwang, we clearly see they were not satisfied. Also, we can clearly see they were under time constraints, because they had imagined that they will only need 2 hours to respond to all the queries, but it took more than that, and therefore they've left the pending issues to be resolved during the next visit in Senate Mashinani in Kilifi County. Therefore, from the response, we can clearly see the chair was not satisfied, but at the same point, he also stated that there's an opportunity to give a fully satisfactory response in the next hearing. And therefore, we will still have to wait for the next hearing in the Senate Mashinani in Kilifi, so that we can properly understand. And in conclusion, today's Senate session highlighted the importance of accountability in county governments. The major issues discussed included Governor Mung'aro's previous failure to honor Senate summons, payment of 500,000 Senate fine, a qualified audit opinion, unsupported expenditure on temporary employees, questions regarding goods and services, 40 million queried expenditure, omitted unsupported expenditure, and possible Senate verification visits into Kilifi County. The process is still ongoing, and the final conclusions will depend on explanations and evidence presented before the Senate committee. And as always, accountability remains a key pillar of devolution and good governance. And ladies and gentlemen, let me know, do you believe county government should face stricter financial oversights? Please comment below. And if you've watched this video up to this point, thank you so much. Please like the video so that YouTube can share this video with other viewers. And if you're tuning into our channel for the first time, please click the subscribe button so that YouTube can notify you as soon as we post our political debriefs. Thank you so much. And also remember, I'm running for Adu Ward, member of County Assembly, Adu Ward, Kilifi County. Therefore, this topic of Kilifi County is dear to me. Visit my website, wilsonochara.com, review my manifesto, and kindly let me know of your feedback. And if you consider making a small donation for my political campaign, I'll appreciate it. Other than that, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.